So the question we always get is, how did a company from New Jersey end up here in Winona? And some of it goes back to really my beginnings. I'm a chemical engineer graduate in 1984 out of Rutgers, New Jersey. There were no jobs for chemical engineers in 1984, and so I actually got my first job out here with a company called Fireside Chat, and now I think it's Solvay is who they are. And so back then they were looking for, I had a friend who got hired out here and they needed a hands-on, I'll call it dirty fingernails type engineer. And so they hired me in to fix ovens up on the 3rd floor called the high E area back then. So that's how I ended up out here. I met my bride-to-be, Patty, out here, and then dragged her around the country. And I came back into this area basically after working in aerospace in Connecticut for a while, advanced composites. I was doing circuit board assembly work for Telex over in Blue Earth for a while, and then a company called EMD Associates, which is now Benchmark. Dan Ruckavina and Dave Arnold were looking for engineers, and they hired me on as an engineer, and that brought us full circle back to Winona again. So worked at Benchmark for a while, then I went up to Riverside Electronics in Lewiston, and was there for 15 years. I was engineering manager and then general manager for Steve Craney, running 2 of his companies. And then decided it was time to do some planning for Fluoramics. So in September 2015, I went back to Fluoramics. So when I graduated in '84, my dad said, go see what the real world is like. You grew up with Fluoramics, go find out whatever else is, and then you come back till 30 years later. So in September, I went back to Fluoramics, picture of my father and I. He's 85 in that picture. And decided it was time to do some changes in what we're going to do. So we initially took the approach that we would keep manufacturing in Mahwah, New Jersey, and I would start a business development office out here. And that sort of was the plan. I was doing 1 week here, 1 week in New Jersey, going back and forth. And basically what sort of evolved over time is that we decided that we should move. If you look around the room here, you're going to see 3 of our banners. And the banner in the back talks about oxygen-safe sealants. And this is a unique industry that we are really a leader in. And it was the first product created by my father in 1968. And it was the first oxygen-safe thread sealant called Formula 8. And that's what started us. Now, when you handle oxygen things, you sort of want to be a little more careful about carbon issues and things like that. And so we made the plan that, okay, let's move the oxygen-safe sealants out here, leave tough oil and hinder us technologies out in Mahwah. Sounds like a good plan in the October time. So we started looking for space. And so we ended up finding space here in Winona in the WKM complex. We ended up leasing one of their smaller buildings. It kind of looks like their out garage. But it's about 6,000 square feet. And so we signed leases in the January of 2016 timeframe, and started looking for some staffing help. We were lucky to bring down a couple of key individuals. Jenny Emmons is with us, business development manager. Patty joined the company more full-time as our marketing manager and other things, HR help and things like that. Russ Marsalik joined us as a production operations manager. And so we started having plans. Our lease was, we move in basically in the March 1st timeframe. And so the idea is that we were going to keep things operationally, keep some of it in Mahwah, some of it in here, and have business development all focused out of here. And so there's really just some shots of the buildings here. So our first day, March 1st, that was our office and card table. Jenny's thinking to herself, what did I do to myself? And of course, WKM is awesome people to work with. They helped us clean up the site, the building. We painted the floors, we insulated it. Nathan Woodward, kudos to him and his staff, fantastic group to work with. And we cleaned up the site, got it all ready to go. And so that was on March 1st. We moved in and started going. Jenny's second day, I think she flew out to Jersey, spent the week out there with them, and started learning some of the systems. That following Monday or Tuesday, I think it was, I got a phone call from my dad and say everybody just quit. Now we're a small company. We only had 2 production people out there, 2 people in the office. The 2 production people, I got an innocuous email on that Saturday before from one of them saying, yeah, I'm done, I'm not coming back. I didn't see the email until Wednesday. And then the other guy, at the end of it, the Monday, handed his keys to my dad and said, I'm done, good luck, see you later. So obviously I did something to piss him off. The 2 ladies in the office had been with my father for 30 years. They aged out, they were retiring, awesome people. But they decided also, they gave notice and said, hey, we're gonna, one of them was selling their house, they're moving south. The other one was gonna be more into realtor work and work with their son on realtor stuff. But everybody gave notice basically. And so here we are sitting now on March 7th with no production staff. We're just formulating a plan just to move the oxygen lines out. And so that was sort of the day of change. So we had to figure out, okay, how are we going to make this happen? And during this whole time frame also, between, I'll say in January, February, and March, our landlord in New Jersey, once we signed a lease out here, I said, we had 27,000 square feet. And so, that building there, we were half of that, 27,000 square feet. WPM building is only 6,000 square feet. And so since we were moving out a portion of the operation, I didn't need 27,000 square feet. We didn't need that. And so I started working with the landlord and said, okay, how could I only need maybe half of this, maybe a third if you'll let me do it. And he said, yeah, I understand what you're talking about, Greg. I need $100,000 from you so I can build a wall to subdivide my factory. And beyond that, the market's really good out here in Jersey for building. I'm hoping you rent 18%.
Wow.
And so he sort of, and my father, just the relationship with that landlord, my father got this guy through the hard times. And he moved in there maybe 25 years ago, when that building was dead nuts empty, excuse the term. And my father and Fluoramics floated his building for him for many, many, many years when nobody else was renting. And of course, then the tide turned. So that sort of also encouraged us to say, okay, with everything else that occurred here, in the day of change, I'll call it, that maybe it is we need to pick up and get out of New Jersey.
There was hints there.
So the gods are speaking to us.
Right.
So what we started doing, so this big is a picture of inside, the Mawa plant. And again, this is, probably 30 years accumulation of stuff. Now understand, my father is an intrepid inventor. On the table over there, you'll see some examples of what he's invented over the years. He has, 35 or 40 patents. Could have 150 if you wanted. He's invented everything from toys, specialized lubricants, to medical equipment, to specialized light piping, all sorts of things. And so the Mawa facility was also an integral part in his creativity in creating things. Thus, we had a lot of stuff in this building. 27,000 square feet was filled with stuff. And we had to figure out how to parse it down, pull out what we needed to really take Fluoramics and the key attributes that you see on these banners, take it to the next level. And that's what we started doing. And the bottom picture just shows how we were prioritizing skid wrapping and getting things ready to go and to ship out here. We started doing weekly shipments. And what we ended up doing, we decided is that Russ Marsalik, our production operations manager, and I were flip-flopping back and forth. Jenny was going back and forth also, learning the computer systems and figuring out how to do the whole QuickBooks side and make sure we didn't have any interruptions with our customer base. And we didn't. Our customers never knew what was happening. What we ended up doing is that between me and Russ flip-flopping back and forth, he'd be here one week, I'd be out there. We crisscross in the sky, and we flip-flop back and forth. We did that for about the first month. When we started getting production going, basically said, okay, Russ, you stay in Winona, and I'm going to go back and forth. And so what we did basically is every week we would have shipments of skids of things coming out. And it would be a combination of materials, equipment, and finished products. We cut off all shipping of finished goods out of Mawa, New Jersey. And so we were lucky to have some strategic partners in town here, which really worked awesome for us. Russ discovered that through Fastenal, and I discovered through a friend that's a driver with Ashley, that they've got trucking departments that are more than happy to help out companies around the area. And Ashley ended up being our biggest ally in moving things back and forth, because they were running trucks, full trucks, out to New Jersey every week, and deadheading back. And their shipping department, coordinating trucking group, awesome group of people. I tell you what, I can't speak anything but great things about them. And now I can say dollars, but they basically they would give us a 53-foot long truck, empty, for $1,200. But whatever you want, Gregg. Fill her up. And that's what we did. And so we had Ashley trucks full coming out, every week. Fastenal helped us out with skids of stuff, because they're dropping off at all the stores around the area. And so we actually worked with them and actually did some depot transfers to get some stuff back. Just when we were in a rush to get some finished goods out here, we would send them out back through Fastenal and get them delivered by the door. 3 days later, they would beat me on my. I was driving back and forth at this point. I wasn't flying anymore, so I could do Jersey in 22 hours.
Wow.
And with a cat naps along the way.
Wow.
We even rented a truck at one point. We had some things going on that we just couldn't wait for the trucks. And I don't know how many 85-year-old gentlemen that would drive I don't know what that was, a 26 or a 32-foot long truck cross country. But we did that nonstop. My dad and I did that one day and just drove the truck out. He's 85. And so that's really how we started moving things back and forth and getting operations going here. Not a hiccup to our customers. As things developed here and things were moving along, we skid prioritized and got things organized and basically shifted production, element by element. We did get the sealants going first, and then early on, like I said, on the 7th of March, we had no production staff anymore. And on the 30th of March, we produced our first product here. And it was a lock-safe formulation. We got that up and going in 3 weeks out here. And then we continued to move everything. In the movement out of New Jersey, there was a lot of trials and tribulations we ran into. A lot of it induced, I'll be honest, by the state of New Jersey. Not to speak mean about New Jersey, but every state has environmental regulations. And for a good reason. I'm not bad-mouthing the reasons for it. But one of the challenges in New Jersey is that a business cannot move out of an existing space unless you get an environmental clearance by the state. You cannot, as I mentioned to Nate, you could not move this office space next door without having an environmental assessment done on what you were using here. If you were using toner cartridges, how were you disposing of those toner cartridges? And what were you flushing down that toilet, by the way? So we want to run samples in the sewers, find out what's going on, what you're doing in this space. You need to prove what you were doing for disposal on all your toner cartridges. And blah, 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 blah. You can just imagine what it's like. Now imagine a chemical company manufacturer that has been in the same site for 25, 30 years. So, and we're a very clean, responsible operation, all right? Everything we do is solvent-free. We're very responsible. We use it, proper management and everything, and it always have. And so we had to go through soil borings around the parking lot. We had to have, check out sewer systems. We had to validate and go backwards in records showing how we, because we do it in oily rags, and you have to get rid of that type of stuff. Empty drums when you do things. We had to hire an environmental law firm. They had to hire an environmental assessment company. And we were lucky we were able to move along. Typically it takes 1.5 to 2 years to get through an assessment. We were able to move it along and got it done in about 4 months, 3 months, And so about $60,000 later, a lot of paperwork. We got our clearance to leave New Jersey from the state. And the landlord cannot re-rent that space until he gets you get that clearance also. So that was one of the challenges of exiting. The other biggest challenge, I'll be honest with you, was my father. And it was kind of funny because we, years of accumulation. And every time we said, okay, do we really need this, Dad? Oh yeah, you're gonna need that. And so it was kind of a running joke saying, okay, I don't think we're gonna need that, so Russ, take Dad to lunch. And outside the building, we had 2 dumpsters. We had a great company called Trash It, actually, that specialized in clean out. We had one dumpster for metals and one dumpster for garbage. And we were filling those things up every 3 days when we were doing the clean out. And, but it all worked out well. I regret some of the things I did throw out, I'll be honest with you. My dad was right. And so we basically ended up, with getting Mawa, cleaned out, by the end of July. And so on August 1st, we told the landlord we're done. At that point, there were floor scrubbers, we were scrubbing things. I had confirmation from the environmental assessment people that we were going to clean bill. It took till September 1st, the end of August to get that paperwork all finalized out. But we were lock, stock, and barrel out of New Jersey by the 31st, by September 1st. And so it was a heroic move, I think, even though we're a small company, we did this without missing a beat. Our customers never knew it. And we sell internationally. We have a strong international presence. Our products are heavy into like bottled gas arenas, into many commercial areas. We are a leader in the oxygen world. And so, but none of these companies never had an impact as far as shipping and things like that. And in part to what we did, in part to what Jenny did, Patty did, everybody was pitching in, helping out, making sure things were flowing and moving. We stumbled every once in a while, but it wasn't too bad. So, today, that's a picture of our new offices. We've not only have the manufacturing site across the street, but then last December timeframe, we expanded into new offices in the WCAM main building, 3rd floor. And so that's a picture of our new office setup over there. So business development is over there. And any of the office space that we had, and we were literally in a swash about 12 feet wide from here to that wall. And that was our office space in that building, in the manufacturing building. And so now we're able to spread out. And we do a lot of international work, and so Skype calling and things like that. And so it gives us a better, more professional place to continue to grow. We're now at 9 people with the company. Still a small company, but a very strong global presence and growing. We celebrated our 50 years in 2017, and Frank Gregg was out for that. So that's how we ended up here in Winona, Minnesota.